Hello there everyone, welcome back. It's time for the rematch again with Neptis there. And slowly but surely, after all these matches with the Novicans against Imperial Navy, I think I can start to say I'm getting a little bit comfortable, if not confident, fighting against Novicans. It remains to be seen, because the ultimate real fear, at least against as Eldar rather, is the potential of fighting up against 5 Nova Cannons. While that probably is not a really good strategy as we get more UI bugs going to a planetary defense mission, that is probably the scariest thing I could have to deal with there. Potentially. It remains to be seen how a long drawn out fight will look, especially with the raw burst potential that my Eldar fleet actually has. But with the Eclipses, with the Voidstalker, I at least have the most durable fleet I could possibly field for this type of matchup, regardless. So, as much as I really hate fielding my Eclipses and Voidstalkers together, because if I were to ever lose these ships, I have no main spearhead anymore, so I have to rely on my Auroras as kind of like my main damage dealers as well as my front line, if you call Eldar playstyle having any sort of front line. But nonetheless, I need to be mindful about losing either the Voidstalker or the Eclipse at least. I can lose one or the other, but I don't want to lose all of them ideally. So we're going to poke on forward. I'm keeping tabs on ships there. We do know exactly that he was going to be spawning the gas cloud due to the fact we saw nothing at the start of this match. So with the 5th ship revealed, I think it's a safe assumption that he has a Widowmaker. So after these initial Novicans go on out, I'm going to have my Eclipses play a little bit more of a passive role, just a little bit there. They're going to hang back while the Voidstalker pokes up with its 9,000 range pulsar and try to either destroy the Widowmaker or force a couple of supercharged void shields. It has the range to at least safely do that, potentially. And as I'm getting more use to fighting against Novicans, as he reveals the Widowmaker, and of course burns a reload for whatever reason, I have a perfect opportunity to try and snipe that with my bombers, potentially. But what I was trying to go with as I'm getting comfortable with Novicans, because the fact that how safe I am kind of fighting the prow of his cruisers, quite frankly. The only thing he has to shoot at me is a couple of lances for the most part, and we already know how effective holofields are against that. With the holofield, I'm pretty much taking almost no damage, especially when they're not chaos with like 20 of them per ship, so 2 or 3 I could easily deflect, deal with no risk, as I try and deal with the one ship there, although I don't find out until much later that one ship that I just tried to hit with my pulsar is actually a sword, so the reason it didn't seem as effective as it was is because the ship's so damn small my pulsars just failed to hit it straight up. As bombers, unfortunately, did a poor job actually killing the Widowmaker as I make another attempt at it, another pass, but no hull damage. Not really any hull damage to really brag about. And we're going to make our attempt here. At least we're going to try, but with the Novican strike about to go underway, I decided to play it safe, and considering the fact that's just a frigate anyway, that's probably worth it, quite frankly. So I dodge more fire. I only have lances to deal with, and these bombers are looking really promising to be a hit. Unfortunately, yeah, it actually does go down. I thought I had the kill with the pulsars later there, but we get the Widowmaker kill, and that signifies an attack run for my Eclipses, but of course, he throws on the beacon at the last possible second, so destroying the Widowmaker wasn't all that effective, but really, considering we still have another frigate to deal with, and the cruisers, I'm just now having an opportunity to really shoot at them. It probably suits me better in the end. At least then my Voidstalker could kind of hide until it gets a beacon thrown on as well. Which, for whatever reason, he decides to throw 2 beacons on the same Eclipse. Throws 2 beacons on the same Eclipse there as the supercharged void shield's burnt on this Dominator. So, we are prepping ourselves for a very devastating attack run right now, as this poor thing is stuck in a stasis cloud. Or stasis bomb, rather, so I don't need to tell you how potent and vicious this is going to be right now. Bombers just struck, all the pulsars just ripped apart, And the Void Stalker is going to get on in nice and close for this triple fire critical hit. Hell, we even destroyed the deck as a bonus. So, as a result, he's going to warp that ship out. He's playing a little more conservative with his Nova Cans, and I kind of applaud him for that. I do applaud him for that, but I don't think these Nova Cans are doing what they need to, at least for this attempt. Because, as I said before, with him only facing his prow on me, I have absolutely no weapons to really worry about getting hit from. More or less. I still have to worry about potentially the bombers catch me off guard, with only the Void Stalker able to kind of fight them off effectively. But otherwise, there's almost nothing that can hit me as when the Nova Cans are on cooldown. Hell, even the sweet spot with the Void Stalker. You can't really aim a Nova Can at me from this point, so I think I'm okay. Hell, I'm starting to get a little bit brazen, although it is mostly a little bit of miscontrol. But the hollow feels kind of like not. I just let the hollow feel run out there. I'm kind of in that sweet spot as I told you. And the stasis bomb arguably kind of protects me from one of the Mars's macro cans. But yeah, it is mostly miscontrol. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie there, but hell, that could have been a lot more devastating if that was like any real macro batteries that could have hit me there. As we get ready to destroy the Mars here, although he's gonna warp that one out and try as I might to cancel the warp here. Hell, I even foolishly attempt to launch bombers at it, which of course is a foolish errand. I could have used that for the second Mars there. But I want those kills. I really want to get those kills because, without a doubt, there's only 2 Marses he can even field for his fleet. So destroying one of them is going to have a big impact for me for the rest of the battle. So I attempted to try for it regardless. And now with the final supercharged void shield gone on this Mars, I don't think I need to tell you what's about to happen here. I don't need to tell you, it's just a matter if these torpedoes can hit or not. As the first one looks true, second one I have to take a little more diligence aiming, but both torpedo strikes are dead perfect hits. And I only have one more pulsar shot salvo left. So can I get the kill? No, he's going to get the warp out. So those navigators are kind of useful, quite frankly. Even though I had almost a perfect opportunity to kill that, I just didn't have the time to really do it. Even with the star cans, the star cans only managed to give me a heavily damaged result, I believe, but even then I was denied the kill, but it does deny him a Nova Can for the next match, if nothing else. So there is something I can at least benefit from. I just didn't get the kills I want, so more than likely I'm expecting more Nova Cans for the next battle. Which, he is ultimately going to choose the Space Station Assault for his choice of map. So, I've been very defensive, very cautious in this type of matchup there, mainly because of the extensive sensor range on the space station, the difficulty of actually denying said sensors. So, once I just decide to commit to fighting the station or even his fleet defending it, then I'm going to be visible for the entire match. But hey, it goes to what I said about being comfortable and confident against Nova Cans and just being visible in general, because these past handful of matches I've been hit with a recon beacon almost every game. I've been starting to get acclimated to being seen, quite frankly, to being vulnerable to getting shot at. Maybe not my entire fleet, mind you, but like the key ships there, like the Void Stalker and Eclipses there, getting spotted. Especially for the Eclipses, because I invested in the Void blending for him, for crying out loud. So you think I would be really fearful of getting revealed with him. But it remains to be seen if I can take advantage of this new experience of being able to commit aggressively. It remains to be seen, but I feel like we're making progress on that front at least. As I decide to go with the usual Eclipses and Void Stalker again, kind of worried that he's going to be going with more Nova Cans, as I kind of contemplate my best approach. Because I have the station selected, I'm watching very carefully for sensor range, and I'm even listening for how close those mines are being planted, because I don't know if that's a bug, if I'm even supposed to hear those mines being deployed, but it seems like they get louder the closer they are to my camera, so I am trying to experiment with gauging where those mines are, especially if I hear them near that gas cloud that I'm planning on deploying towards. So that was really what it was attempting to do, quite frankly. And once again, I'm going to open up with the torpedoes by having these ships ideally facing towards the station. Maybe it's a bad idea to aim at the station directly. Ultimately, it might be more realistic to shoot at the beacons first, because I don't think the fighters are going to be able to respond as effectively, let alone as quickly, with how far away that is. Kind of like how I demonstrated before, trying to use my decoy torpedoes a little bit when I was fighting against Solare and Tau with the Championship Series. It's kind of true here. The only difference is if I were to shoot at the beacon, they probably won't make it to torpedoes in time, or at the very least they're only going to get 1 or 2 salvos off to try and shoot them down, which makes my torpedoes so much more effective than shooting the station straight up. But even then, I have no idea where he's deploying the ship, so the idea is I may get a couple torpedo hits on his actual cruisers. That's the idea anyway. As we do reveal at least one Nova Cannon, it does hit, but again, it's on the Foy Stalker. It's not a huge deal. I could technically just repair that right now and completely negate the damage, but first torpedo wave, I want to say I got at least 1 torpedo hit off on the cruiser. It's really hard to say. But this is where I turn my attention towards the beacon, because it's going to deny an extra shield transfer. It's going to deny extra point defense, because this is kind of the angle I'm going to be fighting at. So the station's extra point defense will help shooting down any of my fighters and bombs or torpedoes. So every little bit's going to help here, especially since I got less torpedoes than what you normally would have with cruisers, quite frankly. But the torpedoes are a bit of a hit, and I think I'm even hitting the retribution behind it. And yes, he is fielding a retribution. He's decided to go with only 1 Nova Cannon for his time around. So it's a bit of an interesting mix. I don't know how I honestly feel about a single Nova Cannon, mainly because I never used the Nova Cannons anyway. The only time I really used the Nova Cannons was when I first did the level 8, what is it, Admiral level 8 Imperial Navy, and even then that was only 2 Dominators because I planned on using them against Eldar, and even then I was really poorly experienced fighting with Admiral level 8 fleet in general, so that was my thought process at the time. But even then, I don't even think I want to use Nova Cannons, because quite frankly I think they're kind of the weakest weapon in the game, as stupid as that may sound. Because with the potential for shield upgrades on almost every other faction, shield transfers, that heavily mitigates their potential. On Eldar, I am slowly being able to dodge them and at least make them less effective with this current fleet. Hell, 2 Eclipses with 800 health, Foy Stalker with 1,000. It's only really the Aurora that's susceptible to getting murdered horribly by good Nova Cannon shots. And even then, I have improved the Bone Singer to help with its repairs, which helps with its durability a little bit. But we're going to engage on the Retribution. Now its supercharged Void Shield's gone. It's stuck in a stasis bomb. It's going to get stuck in another one. And the torpedoes are going to be a nice welcome. But unfortunately, he did stop the first attempt. He stopped the first salvo, unfortunately. But my Void Stalker fighters actually managed to shoot down a great deal of his fighters. So this second wave is sure to do a lot more damage, as I even commit this Void Stalker doing a second pulsar shot, quite frankly. And thankfully it's going to pay off. As I dodge the torpedoes, I actually even shoot down the torpedoes straight up, and we got 8 more torpedoes with no fighters to try and shoot them down. So we get an amazing, what is it, 360 damage worth on the Retribution. That thing is almost immediately dead. So you know I'm jiving on that right now, especially with his newfound sense to try and preserve the ships. And I definitely applaud Neptis for that there, but I'm still going to try and kill your ships. Why wouldn't I, quite frankly? And it is heavily damaged, so it's still the same result, quite frankly, if I were to somehow lose this round. But with only 1 cruiser in my way, a handful of frigates trying to ram me, and hell, to be honest, I completely forget about this Aurora. I'm so fixated on just getting the most out of my Eclipses and my Foy Stalker at this point. I just let the Aurora just float off to its utter demise, unfortunately. A bit wasteful of use of my ships, quite frankly, but with the Retribution gone, the one Gothic gone. I think that was even a Gothic. I honestly was not paying attention, but with those ships gone, needless to say, I have a clear window to the battle station. And this is actually the first time with Eldar I even feel comfortable actually making an engagement against the battle station, even with me being constantly revealed. So, we are full on going on there, and you do pay attention, do note the fact I did circle around that damn wreckage from the Gothic for the same reason that we mentioned before when I was having that big long battle. It ruined my attack run before, and I'm sure as hell going to avoid it this time around. So, I am actually learning from my experiences a little bit, and it is resulting to a very, very devastating attack. Those torpedoes alone are going to be taking it down to like a quarter of its health, quite frankly. 3 fire assaults, and the foil sucker to hopefully finish it off. No, needless to say, this is far better result than what I had before in my last video. So I can say this is a bit of an improvement there. A nice improvement. It's going... I am really happy with myself. I feel like I'm starting to figure out Novacans a little bit. Although, with their scatter, it's always a possibility I could have just got lucky dodging them. And I gotta say right now, that Dominator just exploded. It took absolutely no damage for almost its entire game, aside from maybe a stray torpedo, and the battle station alone just destroyed it. Imagine how easily that can ruin my day if I was close to that thing when it was destroyed. This mission is a death trap for both factions, both sides, quite frankly. And I think it's terrified me to the point I never want to play, at least as defense, on a space station assault ever again. Because somehow, it did 200 points of damage to the shields, plus, what, 700 points through the armor? And it's death no less. I am terrified now. I'm going to have nightmares about this.